We wish to thank Robin Hood Flour Mills, sponsors of Country Hoedown, and the Gillette Safety Razor Company, sponsors of the Friday night boxing bouts, for relinquishing their time this evening so that we could bring you this special telecast. Country Hoedown and the Friday night boxing bouts will be telecast at their usual times next week over these same stations.
Now, a special telecast of the Canada-Russia hockey game, direct from Maple Leaf Gardens in Toronto. From coast to coast, it's hockey night in Canada.
What a great, great feeling, what a wonderful sense of sheer enjoyment and of confidence. For there's something you're aware of, your car's been taken care of at the SO sign of confidence at the Happy Motoring sign.
Tonight, Imperial Oil, on behalf of Imperial Esso dealers and agents everywhere in Canada, bring you a preview of the 1958 World Hockey Tournament between Canada and Russia, direct from Maple Leaf Gardens in Toronto. And here's Foster Hewitt.
Hello, Canada and hockey fans in the United States. We're in the second period. They've played close to 9 minutes. It's been a sensational hockey game, and Whitby lead 5-2. But it's been one of the most exciting games by far, certainly of this year, and perhaps for a long time to come. And it's had about everything, clean as a whip and full of action all the way. The Russians started off by scoring 2 goals in less than a minute, rather 2 minutes. And then Whitby came roaring back to score 5 in a row. And it ended 5-2 at the end of the first period. There's been no further scoring in this second period, even though it's been wide open. There's the Russian goalkeeper clearing off to the side. Both uniforms are dark. There's a breakaway for the Russians, a race for the puck. And Wetzel came away out, as you saw, as the Russian stood by Novoshelov right in front of the net. Novoshelov was beaten to the puck. It was a great stab there by the Russian team, go after that puck, but Wetzel came sliding out, as you saw, to break it up. Whitby are to the left, the Russians to the right. They have the V there. There's one of the Russian players there. That's Klistov, number 8. Mackenzie's 18 for the Whitby team. Mackenzie is out there now on the forward line. The puck was cleared down the ice, and it's called for icing. And in the international rules, you must not shoot the puck from one end to the other under any circumstance, whether you're playing a man short or not. It's been a very clean game. 3 penalties in the first period, Whitby getting 2 of them. And then Whitby got the only penalty in the second period, Miles. Now then it's a breakaway down that far wing for Goslin. He's right in. A great save. There you saw Erkin come away out. Back come the Russians down the far wing. The shot goes into the corner. Klistov, number 8, is trying to clear out. He's covered there against the boards. That's Klistov. They wear those little caps. You see that. And the face-off will be to one side of the Whitby net. Canadian team lead 5-2, but the Russians took a 2-0 lead in less than 2 minutes of the first period, and looks as if they were going to really run away in the game. Puck is over there on the far wing. That's Treen of Whitby clearing it out to center ice. The Russians take over. Yukolov forward pass, and it's down the far side for Gurushev. He's clearing on the wing. A rolling pass to Padikov failed to click, and the Russians go back and cover up at center. Both uniforms are dark. The Russian team in red, and the Whitby team in yellow and black, so they show up very much the same. A clearing pass out to the Russian blue line there is blocked neatly by the Canadian player Goslin, who's been a standout, one of the standouts. Klistov tried to get loose and failed. Now another quick pass. This time Padikov cleared over on the wing. The checking is getting very close. McKenzie on the right side cleared a pass. It's intercepted, but shot was right on there. That time it was Goslin who laid it in. Back come the Russians on that far wing, get to center ice. It's a forward pass intercepted. And this line is Patakov, Klistov, and Gurashev for the Russians. Again, the Russians try carrying that puck up. Klistov couldn't get anywhere. Then McKenzie breaks up the rush again. A loose puck is left offside, and it's called as Miles tried to go in there for Whitby. But it's unfortunate that the sweaters are so similar. That is, they don't show up as far as contrast is concerned. There the Russians getting into the box there. That was that line. Patakov was number 7, Klistov 8, and Gurashev was 9. The numbers are very indistinct on the Russian sweaters. They're a dark blue on red, and they don't show up. Pass down the far wing. Ayer is out there now. This is the Whitby forward line of Maxwell, Miles, and Ayer. The Russians have Tregobov playing up with Sologubov. They're the two outstanding defense players. And for this game, Erkin is in the Russian nets instead of Puchkov. Whitby on the move. Miles weaving a bit, ridden into the boards there. There's a good check, but they're going to call it. The Russian body checked him, looked like Sologubov, and he's going to get a delayed penalty likely. Sologubov is the captain of the team. There he goes. He's given the penalty for boarding. So Sologubov, and he's had, that's the, Sharapanov was the other Russian to get a penalty. They all take a look at his back to try and see his number. It's very hard to figure out, but it's number 2, and that's Sologubov. And he's a blonde and a very powerful skater and really a fast mover. Now there's that, I've read a lot about Alexandrov, the blonde, number 10 out there. If you can distinguish his number, there he is there just to the right. But his hair doesn't show to advantage on television. There he is right swerving around on the rim of the circle. 12:14 was the time of the boarding penalty to the Russian player Sologubov. They hold the puck against the boards there for a face-off, and the Whitby team are playing all inside the Russian defensive zone. Here's a flip pass into the corner. Gagnon tried to clear it in front for Whitby. Here's another try. O'Connor let one go. It went off to the side. 14 is Samolenko. He's covered by Alexandrov. Then they hold that puck in the corner. They're still trying to cover up, but keeping it loose. Whitby getting another chance. They're inside there. A clearing pass. Here's a shot, and it went wide. And the goalkeeper goes right out to Erkin. Was the goalkeeper that went right out there to fight for that puck. He wears a black sweater, incidentally, and he went right to the back there to cover up against the boards. And the Whitby player was Bob Addersley. That was quite a fast move by the goalkeeper. Incidentally, it's a tremendous crowd here, 14,327. And it's chilly but clear in Toronto. 14,327. That's the largest crowd, I believe, of the season. And they have seen a tremendous hockey game. The Russians getting off flying to lead 2-0 in the first 2 minutes. And then the Whitby team really came roaring back to the attack. Sologubov is still off and has 1 minute and 13 seconds left of his penalty. Now they're yelling, "Go, Dunnies, go." Over 4,000 from Whitby here. That's Sid Smith. Number 19 couldn't get a shot on goal. Good chance there for a pass in front there by Burns. and the Russians fail to get out. Here's Burns going in again. He has that helmet right in front of the goal, and it went wide as Sid Smith was standing right off the edge. Whitby crowding the Russians. Here's Smith off to the side again. He's well covered, though, by Ukolov. A clearing pass out to center. The puck is carried down by Loktev. Loktev couldn't get anywhere, and it's Whitby with Burns on the move. The headgear, number 9, and it was offside. Sid Smith, as you notice, went over that blue line in advance of the puck carrier. 5-2 the score for Whitby over the Russian team, and that's Burns going in there, followed by Sid Smith. You can identify him, followed by Sinden, one of the defense players for Whitby. Face-off is on the far wing. Sologubov is still in the penalty box, has 19 seconds remaining. So they're getting set now for the face-off, and this time it's Cherepanov. He's got the cap on there. It's a red cap. McKenzie centered in front of the Russian net. It's bouncing around there. A flip was cleared off to the wing, and it went out before Redmond could hold it in there. He shoots it in back of the net. The Russians shoot it out. Quick break for Cherepanov down that right wing. He took his shot, a bullet drive, but he missed the net. And for some reason or other, the Russians are a bit erratic in their shooting, very different from their practice sessions when they appeared to be deadly. But the Russians have tremendous speed, and they're very methodical. But they have been weak around the net so far. But the Whitby team have had the real drive. Sologubov is back on the ice. Now it's Alexandrov coming up on the wing with the puck carrier Cherepanov, and Alexandrov was unable to get it. He's a 20-year-old youngster they've all been talking about. Back on that left wing, Whitby carrying the puck, and the Goslin, one of the stars for the Whitby team, failed to get a shot. McKenzie is getting one now, and it was very high, and that's the goalkeeper, Erkin, who's been a very busy boy here tonight in the Russian nets. His uniform is black. Oddly enough, both the goalkeepers have black sweaters with the white V. The Russians have the all-red uniform with the white V. The Whitby team are orange and black. But the colors are so similar, that is on television, that they don't show the contrast, which is unfortunate. The Russians, though, are the Vs, the white V you see on the sweater. So they shouldn't be too hard to distinguish. But it's almost impossible to see their number. It's so small, and it's black. That's Tregobov over there on the far wing trying to clear that puck away. The other defense player, Ukolov, cleared it down the ice. It's going down over the line, so it's called for icing. The officials tonight, Hugh McLean and Jim Boddy, they've been doing a good job under the interpretation of the rules, but it's been very cleanly played. Only one argument in the game so far, and that was by the Russian captain, Sologubov, who argued about the way the puck was hopping around on the ice, so they made a referee get another one. Here's a penalty to Whitby. A high-sticking penalty to Maxwell, which was given after the play stopped. A high-sticking penalty. That's the third penalty of the second period. 2 to Whitby and 1 to the Russians. Now the Russians will have the odd man advantage, and the puck is knocked into the corner by Patakov. This line is Klistov, Gurushev, and Patakov. Whitby team take their time. Burns coming down on the right wing, the right on there. And you saw Erkin clear it off to the wing. Here's another chance for Whitby. And it's broken up at the defense. Klistov has the puck there, going over the line. He stops. Now he clears back to the blue line. It's tipped over on the wing. Ukolov had a shot, is still trying. He knocked it into the corner. Puck is still loose. Back to Ukolov, and he carries it out into the center zone and clears to the far wing. The Russians are completely equipped with Russian skates and boots, and they use white tape on their sticks. Here's Whitby going in, a quick passing play right in front of the net. Oh! And you saw Yurikev, how he slides around and hops around, very nimble on his feet. Puck is cleared down the ice. Whitby are a man short. The Russians are still trying to get an attack organized. That's Gurushev over to the far wing. He lost it almost as soon as he got it. Back come Whitby, just a delaying attack. And it was Yukolov that broke it up. That's Yukolov there, clearing on the left wing to Klistov. Klistov, number 8, going in on the left wing, turns around against the boards. Puck is still loose, so they didn't call the play. Whitby just take it slowly to center ice, dragging the puck and shooting it away down where the goalkeeper waits for his teammate Klistov to pick it up. Here's Klistov passing on the left wing. One over on the far wing, a smart move there as Pantikov tried to break loose. He's the one that looks like one of the Bentleys. Now the Whitby player is back on the ice. Maxwell nearly fell as he got out. And it's the Russians being covered back to their own net. Now a clearing pass at center is intercepted. The Whitby player, number 4, was Harry Sinden. And it's in back of the Russian goal again as they're trying to clear it out. The teams are at full strength. Here's a pass right in front of the goal. Oh, what a chance that was. And there you see how he sprawled on that one. He covers up well on these close-in plays. Maxwell was right around the net. Goalkeeper was handed his stick by the official. Certainly a keen bunch the way they're moving out there. It's been a tremendous hockey game, and clean as a whip. 2 minutes and 2 seconds left in the second period. 5-2 for Whitby. Here's a flip pass on the right wing. Addersley cleared over onto the far side. Whitby playing every man up. And there's Sologubov, the captain of the team. He fed a pass. It's out to center ice. This is the Novoshelov line out there. Puck is at center ice. Whitby on the move, attacking Sinden, and a bad pass goes into the corner. It's centered right across to the far side. A drive is intercepted. A quick break down the left wing. There's Novoshelov going in and takes a shot. And Wetzel in the Whitby nets made a good stop. Back come Whitby, 2 abreast, 2 trailing. On the right wing, Addersley gets a long shot. It's stopped at the defense, and 4 Russians break out fast to center ice, led by Trigobov, the defense player. 1 minute left in the second period. 5-2 for Whitby. A race for the puck. Sid Smith going after it, but Trigobov had him covered and is going to get a penalty. Trigobov, the defense player for the Russians, he teams up with Sologubov, and he's going into the box now. His number is 3, if you can see it on his back there. That's Trigobov. And he's a burly individual, almost the same build as Sologubov. They team up, and they were the 2 that played against Penticton in Krefeld, Germany, as well as against Kitchener in Cortina. They're on the national team. They have 9. They have 9 players out there that have played in the Olympics and on the national team. Sid Smith going in with a drive, and he missed the corner, even though Erkin was apparently beaten on the try. Here they're coming close again. Russians are a man short. They clear it out. Alexandrov is out on the forward line along with Loktev. That youngster with the blonde hair is only 20. Sid Smith going in again on that left wing, centered in front. The Russians recover. There's Loktev, stick handling out. He tried to pass to Alexandrov, but it went too far. Went right down the ice, and even though they're a man short, they're not allowed to ice the puck. Here's the goalkeeper, Erkin, going over to the bench with 6 seconds remaining. We'll have to see what he's going to do. I remember Puchkov and Krefeld skated right off the ice in the second period at Crefeld. But no, he's going right back into the net. He's played a great game. He's the younger of the two. Pitchkoff was the one who played against the Kitchener team and also against Penticton. But this is a newcomer, Erkin, a youngster. And he's very, very steady. Clearing pass on the far wing as the bell goes to end the second period, and you can hear the applause for the members of the two teams that skate off the ice. It was 5-2 for Whitby at the end of the first period. Pantikov from Klistov and Sologubov in 57 seconds. Alexandrov and Cherepanov and Loktev at 1:53 when Whitby were playing a man short. Then Whitby went to town and scored 5 goals in a row. At 6:13, it was Samolenko from Addersley when Cherepanov was off. Then O'Connor got 2, one at 8 minutes and one at 10:55. The first one, Bonello and Goslin getting assists. Then at 12:22, Goslin from McKenzie and Bonello, and finally Maxwell from Eyre and Goslin at 18:30 to make it 5-2. End of the first period. No further scoring in the second. 4 penalties, 2 apiece in the second period. So it's 5-2. So at the end of the second period, the score is Canada 5, Russia 2. In just a moment, Scott Young and Wes McKnight will interview members of the official Russian team. This special edition of Hockey Night in Canada is being brought to you by your neighborhood Imperial Esso dealer, direct from Maple Leaf Gardens in Toronto.
Now we pause briefly for station identification.
Hello. This is going to be rather a surprising intermission, and we're just as surprised as anybody else. We had hoped to have a couple of the Russian hockey players on, but a few minutes ago, it was decided that they were pretty well occupied with the hockey out there, and so we're very fortunate to have Mr. Kiselev, who is the official interpreter with the team, and Colonel Korotkov, who is the president of the Soviet Ice Hockey Federation. We'll talk to them about what they think of this game out here tonight. Mr. Kiselev, do you think the heat of this rink has had any effect on your players?
Спрашивает, имеет ли горячая погода, которая здесь есть, имеет влияние на какой-нибудь на нашу игру?
Некоторые влияние имеет. Обычно у нас погода более прохладная.
He said that it's influenced a little bit because we are used to the more colder conditions.
Of the outdoor rinks?
Outdoor and even inside.
I see. I noticed that some of your players who started the game with the little chukes, including down over their ears, discarded them during the first period or so.
Он говорит о том, что он заметил, что некоторые наши игроки начинали игру в шапочках, они ее сняли во втором периоде.
Да, но это значения не имеет в данном случае.
Well, this is not so important, of course.
It was just a little thing I noticed there. I thought might have had something to do with the heat. Have you, Colonel, what do you think of this Whitby team? Are they as strong or stronger than you had thought they would be?
Вот эта команда, с которой мы сейчас играем, как она сильнее, чем мы предполагали, или приблизительно то, что мы думали?
Нет, примерно то, что мы и думали. Но наша команда играет сегодня слабее, чем она играет обычно.
We have expected your team to be on that level as they are playing now, but our team is a little bit weaker than it is usual.
Well, I think, as you heard, the crowd was very impressed by the show that your players put up there and the short passing game and great speed. They're great favorites with the crowd. Wes, have you...
I would like to ask if this is the national team that will play at Oslo, or is this a team just picked for this particular tour?
Он спрашивает, это сборная национальная команда, которая будет играть в Осло, или это команда, которая специально
Нет.
подобрана для этой поездки?
В составе этой команды только игроки московских клубов, а не национальной сборной.
The team is composed of the players only from Moscow. This is not the national team.
Из состава этой команды, возможно, игроков 8-10 поедут и в Осло.
He thinks that about 8 or 10 players from this team will go to Oslo.
Well, what about Bobrov and Babic and a few of the stars that we heard about in the past team? Are they still eligible to play in this?
Он интересуется о наших хоккейных звездах, как Бобров и Бабич. Играют ли они сейчас?
Нет, они уже по возрасту для таких команд, как играющие здесь, не годятся.
He said that the age of the, as you call it, stars, Bobrov and Babic, is not good for the ice hockey, we think. So they are not playing now.
Им втроем 106 лет сейчас.
Yes, the Bobrov's line, that is Bobrov, Shuvalov, and Babic, they are of 100 years old together.
Well, there's one question I would like to ask. Do the players play hockey 12 months a year? Do they do anything else? Is that their one job?
Играют ли наши команды 12 месяцев в год? Имеют они какую-нибудь другую работу? Или это хоккей является их работой?
Нет, наши, конечно, игроки не играют столько времени. Играют они до последних 2 лет. Играли 3-4 месяца в году.
He said, of course, our boys are not playing 12 months a year, but during the last before the last 2 years, we played only 3 or 4 months.
В настоящее время у нас построено несколько катков с искусственным льдом, поэтому играет несколько больше.
Now we had several artificial ice rinks. That's why we are playing about 6 months a year.
Для наших всех игроков хоккей не является профессией.
And the ice hockey is not a job for the boys.
В составе команды служащие, студенты, техники.
We have among the boys servicemen, officers and soldiers, and white collars, and students, and some other professions.
Colonel, what time of life, that is, what age does the average Soviet boy start to play hockey?
В каком возрасте приблизительно наши ребята начинают играть в хоккей?
Ну, те, которые сейчас играют, сказать трудно, в какой возраст они начали играть. Примерно игроки играют, я знаю, эти игроки играют 3, 4, 8 лет в этих пределах. А у нас в Советском Союзе разрешается в официальных соревнованиях выступать мальчикам с 13 лет.
As for the boys who are playing right now, some of them are playing from 4 years to 8 or 10 years. But as for the boys, they usually start playing in the organized hockey since 13 years of age.
I see. Are there leagues for boys of 13 or 14 in Russia now?
Существует ли какая-то лига или группа, в которой они играют, мальчики 13 или 14?
Мальчики играют по возрастным группам.
The boys are playing in the groups or leagues according to their age.
13-14 лет.
The first group, this is the boys of 13 and 14.
Вторая группа
The second
15-16.
of 15 and 16 years.
И следующие 17-18 лет, юноши.
And the next group is of 17 and 18.
И только с 18-летнего
And only
возраста
since the age of
разрешается играть в командах
18,
взрослых.
it is allowed for the boys to play in the grown-up teams.
I see.
Is hockey a very popular sport in Russia, all over the country? How many boys would you have playing it?
Сколько популярный ли хоккей, популярен ли хоккей в нашей стране, по всей стране, и сколько приблизительно молодежи играет в хоккей? We have 2 types of brands of hockey.
До того, как начали играть в хоккей,
Before we started playing ice hockey with puck,
играли только в хоккей с мячом или баней.
we played with the ball that it is known in the Scandinavian countries as bandy.
Oh, yes.
И до настоящего времени в хоккей-бенди у нас играет все-таки больше молодежи, чем в хоккей
And he
шайбой.
said that the bandy hockey is more popular in Russia and more people, young people, are playing bandy.
Но
at
с
present time.
с каждым годом хоккей с шайбой приобретает все большую
But with
популярность.
every year to come, the ice hockey with the puck, I mean, is getting more and more popular among the young people.
I see.
В прошлом году,
For example, last year,
в официальных соревнованиях у нас участвовало примерно около 200 тысяч хоккеистов.
we had about 200,000 boys participating in the organized competitions.
How many indoor ice arenas would you have comparable, say, to the one you're playing in tonight, Maple Leaf Gardens?
Сколько приблизительно у нас есть закрытых катков, которые могли бы сравниться вот с этим стадионом, где мы играем?
В настоящее время в Москве один такого же типа. Дворец
At
спорта
present time, we have in Moscow the Sport Palace, which looks like this one.
Сейчас в настоящее время строится ряд катков в различных городах.
Yes, and we are building now indoor artificial ice rink in different cities of the Soviet Union.
Is most of your hockey played now outdoors?
В большинстве мы играем
В большинстве играем на открытых. В прошлом году примерно мы подсчитали, у нас около 600 катков, на которых играет хоккей.
Mostly we are playing outdoors, and we have about 600 outdoor ice rinks.
Well, thank you very much. In just a moment, we'll have the play-by-play by Foster Hewitt of the third period.
Fill her up with SO Extra gasoline. The gasoline that stops cold weather stalling. Fill up with SO Extra and go!
Well, the teams are out on the ice now, ready to start the third and last period. 5-2 for Whitby. And the Russians, who scored 2 fast goals in less than 2 minutes, have been shaded ever since then by sheer determination and drive by the Whitby club. But it's been close and a good hockey game all the way. They're getting ready for the start. The Russians here, who I saw at Cortina and Germany, incidentally, include Sologubov, Tregobov, Yukolov, Sidorenkov, Pantakov, and that's about the list. Sid Smith, and incidentally, Smith sounds like a funny name for a hockey player, is out there. He's the former Leaf player. And now we're starting in with the Russians to the left. Here, the Whitby team right in front of the net. And a close call there. It's right in front again. And a great chance there by the Whitby player, Gagnon. Whitby really putting on the pressure here right from the start. Whitby are to the left. Russians are defending the left area. Here's a long drive by McKenzie, was stopped. Here's another try. A shot just went wide. That time, it was very, there's a shot, a score. From that corner, McKenzie will get, he's the one that he and the Whitby have now gone to 6-2. May have been a deflection there, very close. McKenzie certainly was the one, I think, that put that puck in the net. We'll wait for the official, but looked like McKenzie. And that's Gurashev just getting in the box now for the Russians. Teams have Tregobov off. That's why Whitby had the driving force there and had the extra man advantage to make it 6-2 over the Russians. Oddly enough, the Russians scored the first 2 goals in less than 2 minutes and then have been shaded ever since by a terrific uphill drive by the Whitby team. Addersley got the assist. 40 seconds was the time. And now that's Alexandrov, number 10 for the Russians, held in check. Tregobov is getting ready to come back on the ice for the Russian team. Russians were a man short. Here's Addersley again, fading a pass that Gagnon just failed to get. It's off to the side, and Tregobov is on again, and the Russians break fast. That's Alexandrov on the left of him. Over on the far side, a clearing pass in front, and the Russian was knocked over heavily there, and puck was knocked ahead, and there's going to be a Whitby penalty as a result of that play there. Looked like slashing. It's Redmond is the one who's going off. Seemed to get some of the 17. Redmond. And seemed to get the elbows into it too. So now the Russians will have a chance with the extra manpower.
2 minutes for elbowing. Time 1:25.
The Russians have Loktev, Cherepanov, and Alexandrov out there. There's Cherepanov. He's the one trying to cover the Whitby player, Sinden. Puck slides into the corner, still in Whitby territory. That's Cherepanov there, getting the puck back to Tregobov into the corner. Here's a shot in front. That was a nice try. And back come the Whitby players with Burns, number 9, wearing the helmet. He lost his glove. There's going to be a penalty there. Tregobov gets his second penalty in a row. There he's going into the box now, Tregobov. And Redmond gets out of the box to let him in. Tregobov is number 3 for the Russians. And you see the difference in the uniform. The V for the Russian, it's the white trim on red. That's Charlie Burns there for Whitby on the right. And that's Gurashev for the Russian team. Gurashev is number 9.
Russia penalty, Tregobov. 2 minutes for high sticking.
The high sticking, 2:02. High sticking to Tregobov. An offside immediately. Loktev stands near the blue line. Chicago lead the Rangers 1-0 in the first period. Litzenberger from Lindsay and Nestorenko. Chicago 1, New York Rangers, no score. It's 6-2 here for Whitby Dunlops over the Russian team. There's Burns playing over a pass on the right wing, going in for a relay. Here's a drive. He took it off his skate, but couldn't pass in front. Alexandrov trying to cover his check. They're playing 5 aside. Whitby in possession again. That's Tom O'Connor fighting for the puck. It's intercepted. Alexandrov goes down, passing on the right wing. Loktev has a chance. Loktev waited too long, and back come Whitby. Puck carrier being O'Connor. A clearing pass on the left wing. O'Connor going in back of the net. Passing out in front. Here's a chance as Sinden knocked it into the corner again. And the Russians take charge, trying to clear out the forward pass up to Loktev, who goes in on the right wing. That's Loktev there. He missed a check. Very nimble on his feet. Over to Alexandrov. Over on the rounds on it, right in there, close. And the puck rolled wide. Another chance for Loktev. And it's back in front to Alexandrov. And a clearing pass by Whitby goes right down the ice as the Redmond of Whitby returns to the ice, number 17. So it's 6-2 for Whitby. It was 5-2 into the first. Still 5-2 in the second. There were 4 penalties in the second, 2 apiece. And the Canadian team outshot the Russians 10-7 in the second period. Whitby outshot Russia 16-5 in the first. Been 2 penalties in this third period. 1 goal scored by McKenzie from Addersley. Now a clearing pass on the left wing. Goslin was unable to get anywhere. McKenzie goes sweeping over to cover the defense. Nearly hooked the puck away from Yukolov. And it's down that left wing as Sharapanov couldn't get anywhere. Back goes Bonello for Whitby. He couldn't get through the Russian defense. And it's McKenzie feeding a pass. Goslin going in right in front of the net. Oh, a save and a scramble. But that puck, he finally went down and grabbed it. And this Erkin certainly hops all over the ice, and he takes all kinds of chances, dropping down low to make sure he gets hold of that puck. Now here the Russians making a change. There's the V sweater. And they're taking over now. Bonello is getting that puck back. Treen had his shot, and it's a face-off outside. It's Novoshelov, Kopylov, and Elizarov out there in the forward line for the Russian team. Teams are at full strength, and the puck is... Saligubov is back on the defense with Tregobov. They seem to play a good portion of the game. They seem to be tireless. But the only rest they've had so far is when they've been in the penalty box. Now then, the Russians in possession. Saligubov cleared a forward pass there to Kopylov, who rifled one very high. McKenzie couldn't get out. A flip pass on the far side. McKenzie clears across. Here comes Goslin up, number 12. And he was blocked at the defense. Back go the Russians, but Saligubov couldn't handle that loose puck. And it's Whitby coming right back again. Treen carrying the puck. A long shot just off the target. Bonello attempted to center it. It went back of the net. That's Saligubov there. Passing. Tregobov cleared quickly to Kopylov. Then on the left wing. Here's a pass back on this side. It's Saligubov. That's number 2. A shot went wide. It's over to Tregobov on that far, the point there. Here's right in front of the net a shot. Oh, that's close. As Kopylov let it go. Now then Whitby come back 4 strong. Carrying the puck there. Bonello over in front of the net, and it's cleared off to the side. A quick break. Elizarov on the right wing. Clears ahead on that left side. They stop. The Russians are in on the defense. A clearing pass, and McKenzie intercepted for Whitby. Fed a quick pass. Maxwell tears down the ice. A shot just wide after he had eluded Tregobov. Puck is shot out to the blue line and to center ice, and Redmond is now out there for Whitby as they're changing on the go. 6-2 for Whitby. And the Dunnies have had a definite margin since the early minutes of the game. But it's been a terrific hockey game, and the first period just had the fans dazzled by the speed. It's been fast all the way through, but the scoring predominated in that first period. Matter of 5 goals, or rather 7 goals scored in the Whitby getting 5 of them, and Russia 2. There's a quick pass on the left wing as the puck goes in back of the Whitby goal. Whitby recover, and they're coming back 3 strong. A clearing pass on the right wing. Maxwell had his chance but was stopped, and the puck is out to center ice. It's offside again. 2 officials, 2 referees tonight, of course, Hugh McLean and Jim Boddy, and they're playing the international rules. Main difference is that from the regular rules that we're used to, they're not allowed to shoot the puck down the ice at any time, under any circumstance, regardless of penalties. And when you do get a penalty, whether you score or not, the man stays in the box and serves his penalty. Puck is in the corner with Whitby trying to center it out. It comes right in front of the net and is knocked back just as quickly. A long clearing pass bounces out to center, and that's Redmond of Whitby feeding a pass on the wing to Maxwell, who dumped it to the side, and the Russians are trying to get away, but seem to be a little tired. The effect of the heat may have something to do with it. Triggerbaugh cleared on the far wing. They're closing in. Couldn't get a shot. Here's another drive. But that time, Christoph had his shot blocked. Now it's Whitby in possession. That's Miles feeding over on the right wing to Air. Here's another chance as a bad shot by Maxwell went wide. It's into the corner. The Russians send back Panikov as they're changing on the go. Here's another attempt by Whitby on the defense, but they break it up. Christoph starting away on that left wing for the Russian team, and the puck went flying into the crowd. So now they'll have more time to make a change. Here come the Russians over the boards. Now, as you see, there's the blonde right in the center of your screen. And that's Alexandrov. He could make Hollywood any day. I don't know whether he can act or not, but that doesn't seem to count too much. Here's the puck is shot at center ice, and a rolling puck in front of the net, knocked off to the side by Erkin in the Russian goal. A rolling puck off to the side, and it's Whitby trying to clear in front. Samolenko is covered up. It's back for Triggerbaugh there, number 3. He failed to get out. Whitby closing in again. Here's a chance right in front of the net. Oh, and a great save by Erkin as you saw him drop in front of the sliding puck. Now it's Loktev coming down. Cherepanov was with him. This is the Cherepanov, Alexandrov, Loktev line. That's Loktev clearing a pass right in front. It's intercepted by the defense and shot out. Back goes Triggerbaugh. That's Triggerbaugh there for the Russian team. Triggerbaugh is on the move. He's stopped before he could get out. Samolenko is watching his check. Samolenko goes high against the glass. The Russian player there is knocked over behind the net. You see him just getting up. But he wasn't injured on the play in any. That was Triggerbaugh. And you see notice the goalkeeper speaking there to Samolenko, who seemed to be rather tired. Now he's going off for relief. Triggerbaugh and Samolenko going off the ice, getting relief. One of the few times they get off that ice. It's very warm in the gardens with this tremendous crowd of over 14,000. Officially 14,327. 6-2 the score for Whitby. There's a jamming session in the corner. That was Charlie Burns knocking over the Russian Ukolov. Here's an attack that's broken up as Loktev shot into the pads of the defense player. Burns comes down fast. Here's Sid Smith going in. He shoots. A stop is score. Burns. Burns from Smith. Burns from Sid Smith. Scored for Canada, making it 7-2 for the Whitby Dunnies. Alexandrov is now at center ice for the Russian team with Loktev on one wing and Cherepanov on the other. This line is getting a fair amount of use. There's 12, Loktev. He failed to get far. Then Alexandrov was covered. There's Cherepanov going in back of the net. He's bumped around a bit, and it's Burns starting away for Whitby on that far wing, stopped by Ukolov. Another quick break as Cherepanov trying to get loose, ran into the defense there, and it was a stone wall. That was Redmond that bumped him. Puck is to one side. Burns left it there. It's up against the net. They jam around, and with that jamming session, O'Connor was also given an assist. Burns from Smith and O'Connor. 9:32 was the time. Burns from Sid Smith and O'Connor, making it 7-2 for Whitby over the Russian team. Now we're ready for the face-off. Puck comes out to the blue line. The Russians keep it in there. The Whitby team are to the right. The Russians to the left, but they're playing in the Whitby zone. There's a breakaway for Whitby. Going in alone. Goslin right in. Oh, and he hit the post. Goslin hit the post on a clean-cut breakaway, but the goalkeeper, Erkin, made him make a good move there. Back come the Russians to the defense. Couldn't get anywhere. And the puck is knocked back in the Russian defense. A long clearing pass was no good. It's back to the center ice again. Less than 9 minutes remaining. 7-2 for Whitby. And the Russians knocked that puck out to center ice. Kopylov failing to get anywhere. Alazarov is the other forward. The Whitby player was bowled over. Treen. Puck is to one side of the Russian net, and Erkin made sure there was no further play. So now they're changing again. That was the Kopylov-Alazarov line. Now they're changing again. This time, Wally Maxwell will be at center ice for Whitby. Miles and Ayer are the wings. Pass back to the blue line. A shot. It caromed wide. It's into the corner from Maxwell. He tried to center it out, and it's Kristoff going down that left wing. Pass is knocked down by O'Connor. Russia take charge again. This time it's Kristoff going in on the far wing. Passing back to defense player Yukolov. He's waiting back at the point. Whitby break it up momentarily. Yukolov again into the corner. Kristoff from the side, cleared it right onto O'Connor's stick. A quick pass down the ice. Maxwell goes down the left wing with Miles being chased off behind the net. The Russians break out fast. A quick pass there by Kristoff as they go in, and a bad pass as Tregobov, who had received it, handed right back to the Whitby player. A pass on the left wing goes too far, and Yukolov has to go back to get it. And it's very noticeable when Tregobov and Sologubov are off the Russian defense. The Russians seem to lose that drive as well as a steadying influence of the dynamite pair. The Russians clear out to center ice. It's broken up again by Samolenko. A quick pass there to Addersley, failed to click. Moved in front. Kristoff down the left boards for the Russians. It's deflected. And Patakov is out there now with Kristoff and Gurashev. Puck rolls to center ice. The play is getting a bit sloppy at the moment by close checking. Gagnon goes in for Whitby into the corner, tried to center out. It goes back to the net. It's right in front, and that was Yukolov that knocked it off to the wing. Whitby keep it in here. Here's Addersley clearing on the side. Samolenko is forced into the corner, and the puck is held there for a face-off, and the changes are getting very frequent now. They're the Russians making a quick change on that one. Whitby tend to stand pat. So it's Alexandrov out there again with Cherepanov and Loktev. 7-2 the score. Whitby leading. It was 5-2 at the end of the first, 5-2 into the second, and Whitby have scored 2 in this third period. The Russians got their 2 goals in the first 2 minutes of play, and they had the fans here rather bewildered and dazed by the sudden onslaught. And Whitby were almost in the same category. They just couldn't understand it. Now a photographer is taking a picture of Sologubov, who is arguing the point. But he's moving away now. Gagnon came over to speak to him to see what the trouble was, but he shoved him away. Sologubov and Tregobov out there now. That's Tregobov with the puck. Ahead to Alexandrov over on the right wing. Loktev couldn't get anywhere. That's Alexandrov leaving it for Sologubov. Sologubov is knocked over. A check by Treen. And the puck is held against the boards. Alexandrov into the corner right in front of the net. Is shot right on. And Wetzel made the stop. Back come Whitby. Less than 6 minutes remaining. The puck goes in on the defense. And the Whitby player was bowled over. There's Alexandrov starting out on the wing with Cherepanov. Cherepanov is knocked over. There's going to be a penalty there to Sindin, who knocked the Russian player into the boards. So there's the ref. The Whitby player apparently hurt himself when he fell. They're all grouped around him there. He fell, and whether he fell on anyone's skate or not, it was hard to say. But after checking the Russian player, he seemed to sprawl. They have less than 6 minutes remaining in the game. It's really been quite an experience. And the Russians had all kinds of fire and dash in the early part of the game, but they have tapered off a bit under terrific pressure from the Whitby club, who have really been up for this one. That's Sindin, number 4 there, headed over this way. Apparently he's all right. So the Whitby team, man short.
2 minutes for Turkey. Time
14:32. There's a fake shot by Sologubov. Alexandrov got it right in front, only to have Cherepanov miss it. The Russians have the odd man. Here's Alexandrov again going in on that wing pass in front, and the shot goes against the glass. Alexandrov gets it back to Cherepanov, and it's Sid Smith knocking the puck, racing after it. That's Sid Smith, and he was beaten to it by Sologubov, who has the puck right there. He lobbed it over to Alexandrov. That's the blonde at center, over on the right wing. Closing in. Loktev went almost past the net. That's one of the weaknesses of the Russian attack. They want a stick handle right in and almost through the net before they let it go. Puck is cleared over on the right wing to Loktev, who's standing there at the center red line. It's Loktev who waited too long, and Sid Smith picked it up. He stopped at center ice. Here's a return rush. Kopylov is out there now for the Russians as they change. Kopylov cleared over on the wing. Elizarov tried to team up with him. And it's down for Sid Smith, being stopped again. Yukolov for the Russians, clearing a pass to Oilkov. Sid Smith lobbed it right to the open wing. That player there is Elizarov, the Russian. Losing it to Smith, going in with Burns. The right in, Burns shoots. Oh, and it was close. Just off the corner of the net. Russians trying to get out. Forward pass. Russians have the odd man advantage. But the Whitby player has 16 seconds remaining. 7-2 for Whitby. Russia on the move. Oilkov couldn't get very far. Puck comes back to center ice, and Sidorenkov, who's been used very sparingly on the defense, is out there now, and the Whitby team are at full strength. There they start down the left side. That's Kopylov. A long shot right on. Here they're closing in into the corner. Nice save there by Wetzel. It's right in front, and the Whitby team shoot it into the crowd. And there's no space anywhere in this crowd tonight. Way over 14,000. They're really crowded in here. And they've really seen a great game. Even though it appears one-sided by the score, the Russians have been right in there, and they certainly startled the fans by their sudden burst in that first period. They led 2-0 in less than 2 minutes and had the Whitby team almost dizzy trying to keep up with them. Now then the puck is taken slowly back of the goal. It's stopped by Yukolov. That's Yukolov into the corner again. Now Sindin is trying to start up on the right wing for Whitby. The Russians with the V. They wear the red uniform with the white V. Whitby black and gold. That's McKenzie having the puck there, passed in front, but his teammate Goslin couldn't get it. Now the Russians shoot it down the ice. That was Sidorenkov getting it away. Here's a pass to McKenzie right in front. A nice save and a pass in front as they're swooping in on that Russian goal. Another shot is knocked back of the net. Cleared over on the wing with Elizarov trying to get out. He couldn't.